Our next honoree is a pioneer for Latinas in aviation. As the first Latina fighter pilot in the US Air Force, with over 11,000 hours of flight time and recognition by the Smithsonian as a Latina who shaped America, her new mission is inspiring the next generation to soar. Let's learn more about our 2022 STEM Award honoree, Lieutenant Colonel Olga E. Custodio.
I have no words. This is something that I never would have imagined, but you always stay open to the opportunities and the possibilities. I was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico. My father was in the Army at the time. And as soon as we could, we got on a plane and joined my dad to wherever station he was at the time. It was a great life, and I looked up to my dad, and that's actually where my desire to join the Air Force came from. And in the Air Force, being a pilot, that's the best job there is. So my plan was to get my degree as a math major and then go to the ROTC, get my commission, join the Air Force as an officer. I didn't find out that women were not allowed in the ROTC when I applied. In my last year of college, they offered me a full-time job at this commuter airline. At the time, my husband and I, we both worked for the commuter airline. And then he got out and the subject came up. He says, "What if we join the Air Force?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm listening." We went in, took our test, and he and I got the highest scores. And when we went back to the recruiter, he said, "Okay, you're in. I can enlist you." And I go, No, I need to become an officer. I have a degree. I got the highest score, and I'm qualified for that. But he wouldn't offer me an officer slot. And I told the recruiter, I'm not going to accept something less knowing that I'm qualified for something more. He got an assignment to Panama, and we went down to the Panama Canal. And I found a job with the Department of Defense as a civil servant. My opportunity came up at an open house, and there was this booth with a guy in a flight suit. And I approached him and I said, "So what do we have here? What's going on?" And he goes, "Well, the Air Force is looking for women pilot candidates." Since I worked DOD, I had access to all the regulations now. I knew the scores. I knew all the forms I had to fill out, all the medical forms that I had to take, and all the tests. So the open house was in the summer. December 27th, we received the notice that I was accepted. Now the deal was that there's a cutoff date, 26 and a half. And I just turned 26. So now I had to go to the flight screening program to see if I had what it took to become a pilot. Then I had to go to the officer training school to get my commission and become an officer. Before I actually started, I went to undergraduate pilot training, and I made it by 2 weeks. My goal was not to be first, and I say that every opportunity because I did a lot of first in the Air Force. Being the first at Laughlin as an instructor pilot there, and then going to the pilot instructor training. I was the first female in that squadron as well to teach other pilots to become instructors. Being first was a challenge, but it kind of proved I was cut out for this and I was good enough. And I was good at it. Even though we had the fighter rating, we could not be assigned a fighter because Congress had not passed the law. But I got the fastest airplane in the inventory at the time for women. After 8 years, I decided that I would transition to the reserves and I would go ahead and start getting ready to apply for the commercial airline side. American Airlines was where I ended up, and I was the first Latina pilot at American. It was a great career, spent 20 years there, flew everywhere, and my husband became Mr. Mom when I was away. I think I'm working more now than I ever have in both of my careers. To me, paying it forward is so important, and I need young Latinas to see that they too can do whatever they want. And I'm not saying it was easy. It was very hard, very challenging, but you make it work. The experience was unbelievable, hard at times, but so worth the journey. So worth it.